This is how we charge EVs in the apocalypse. If ever you're buying a solar generator, always make sure that it can do sort of pass through. In other words, it can charge something whilst also receiving power from the solar panels, because otherwise it's just so much more efficient. You know, okay, so it's a bit cloudy now, so it's probably only putting in, I don't know, 5 watts out of the solar panel, but that's 5 watts less that the battery has to supply. And also the sun will come out in a minute when this cloud has moved, and then it'll be supplying about 35 watts out of the 100 or so that the battery is currently taking. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I like having a watt meter. You can see that as the wattage that it draws drops, that's the battery filling up. So the fact that we've now dropped off the sort of 110 odd watts that it was taking originally suggests to me we're probably heading into the last sort of 20-15% worth of battery that needs charging. Which is good, because I got to go get some milk for my coffee. And the car is, well, let me show you the car. Yep. I have had a little weeny accident, unfortunately. Not actually that much damage that you can see, which is great. You should have seen the other car. It was a smart car. The whole front end was basically mashed. It wasn't a good look. It helped to remind me of why I think the smart cars are so blinking dangerous. Because this was basically one of those things. I was stopped at a traffic calming measure and somebody was behind me and they obviously thought I was about to go and just went forwards and bumped the back of my car. Yeah, all in all, that wasn't fantastic. I was going for a little drive at the time because I was actually going to see a new school for Jasper. But we never actually got there in the end because of this little accident. It does annoy me when you speak to the hire company and they're like, yeah, we don't have any electric cars. It's like, what? Jesus. Ugh. You should definitely be able to get an electric courtesy car. If you've had an accident in an electric car, you can't replace it with a petrol or diesel and have that be the same thing. It's because it's not the same thing. It isn't. I mean, okay, so my insurance company did suggest that I could reclaim the fuel that I spent in the Mercedes that they wanted to give me, like an S-Class. I'm sure it's a great car. I don't want it. I'd rather have a Nissan Leaf. Apart from anything, if I have a petrol or a diesel car, I know what'll happen. I'll just try to minimise the miles I do in it down to absolutely zero. At which point you're thinking to yourself, why am I even bothering having a hire car? Because I'm not driving it. It better take less time than it did when I hit that deer. And it took like over 3 months to get fixed. Just unbelievable. I think what I find so frustrating about this particular accident is the fact that all the guy had to do was look in front of him for just like a second. That's where I'm at with the Tesla right now. Wanted to give you a bit of an update because I'm obviously going to have to go through this repair process with my car again. And at the end of the day, they want to stick me in a Mercedes S-Class for what could easily be months. No, I'm not doing it. I refuse to go diesel. We're obviously getting right up there with the battery percentage now because we're down to 70 watts. Okay, I don't have time to wait any longer. I'm gonna go get this milk quickly because Soph wants to go for her run. What are we on? Ooh, 30 watts now. That really took some power out of the old solar generator. The battery in the bike is actually about 2.5 times the size of the battery in the solar generator, so yeah, hence why it's a good idea to plug in the sun as well. Oh, can't believe my car's had an accident. And just like that, I'm home. I love that bike. It is so quick and efficient to get around. And it's quite good fun as well, bombing down hills at like 25, 30. I tell you, for a folding bike, it's pretty sturdy, that thing. Talking about sturdy, what happened to my car is a pretty good example of why I love the idea of a Cybertruck. Because you know what, I bet smart cars could run into the back of Cybertrucks all day long without even leaving so much as a scratch. That's going to be my next Tesla. Cold rolled steel. Now, this solar generator was fully charged when I started charging my bike up. So the question is there enough sunlight today to get it back fully charged before, night time? These are the big questions in my life at the moment. Okay, I've taken photos of the damage to send to the repairers. Hopefully it really isn't going to be that much that needs fixing, because it doesn't look that, that awful. We'll see. I have managed to sort out the rental problem, as I like to call it. In the Enterprise will rent me a Model S. Yes. I don't mind driving round in somebody else's Model S, but really I want to drive around in my own. It does actually really blow my mind that still, after 6 years, I enjoy driving that car so much still. It brings a smile to my face every time I get in it. But then I've always liked the idea of that sort of thing, renewable technology and batteries, stuff like that. I don't know why. I get pleasure from it, even when honestly it makes no difference. Like, check this out. This is the battery that charged my phone this morning. Let's be honest, charging your phone from the sun is going to save basically no power whatsoever. But still, there's something about it. Something about the magic of energy just appearing in a battery. There's something about that. I absolutely love it. And the UK is apparently moving forwards with plans for a bit more sort of ground-based solar. So that's quite cool. And yeah, I think the recovery, the post-COVID-19 recovery, is looking like it might have a reasonably large focus on green technology. And honestly, I think it should, because I think that if you put the money into renewable sources of energy, what tends to happen is you wind up creating local jobs for your country. You end up with more power independence. You're less beholden to big oil producers and less dependent on what the price of oil is doing. In a lot of ways, I think you build a much more resilient economy. And I think it can actually be, massively financially beneficial for your economy, because one of the things that really, puts a drag on how a country's finances are running is how much they have to spend for their energy. It's one of the reasons why, a lot of countries in the Middle East that do have massive great oil reserves that they sell to the rest of the world, it's the reason why they can build, things like the world's tallest skyscraper and various other construction projects, which really, the only way they can afford them is because they're selling oil. Why wouldn't you want to bring a little bit of that finance and wealth back to our shores? Also, it's not just SpaceX that's been launching things to orbit recently. Tesla has launched its share price to orbit. It's kind of crazy. Over $1,000 a share. Jeez. It's enough to make me wish I still had some Tesla shares. Or enough to make me wish I'd bought some when I said I should buy some in December. And they were like $340 a share. Yeah, I really should have followed my own advice then. I'm not surprised though, because Tesla has shown a resilience in its demand. Even if people more or less completely stop buying cars, I think the demand for Teslas will be more or less the same, which, given their sort of strategic position and the fact they've just opened their Shanghai factory, the fact they're working on a Berlin gigafactory, I suspect that out of all the automakers, they're the best placed to come through this little situation unscathed. And if other car manufacturers go bust, that means there's going to be cheap factories and cheap equipment on the market for the companies that survive to snap up. There's also going to be customers available after a few years' time. And we all know how expensive it is to set up a new car company. So yeah, I think Tesla's share price is more justified now than it was 6 months ago, which is crazy. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Tesla's share price and my little incident. At least I've got a hire car. Last time I tried to find a Tesla hire car, it was impossible without going to like a properly specialist hire place. So I am very relieved about that fact. Cars definitely need to have like automatic emergency sensors for like right in front of the car. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, found it interesting. If you have, remember to like it and share it and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter if you don't already. And I will see you in the next episode of the vlog. Bye. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, found it interesting. If you have, remember to like it, share it, leave a like. Okay, I'm completely ruining this. I'm going to just start again. Jesus, so out of practice, you can believe it. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog post. If you have, remember to leave a like.